For all you aging emos and pop punk fans out there, have I got the biggest dose of nostalgia that you're gonna have this week. Of course, as an aging millennial emo myself, there was a couple of guitars back in the early 2000s when I started playing that I had to have. One being Frank's guitar from My Chem, which was the Epiphone Les Paul Custom, and the other is in my lap right now. This is the Tom Delonge Signature Stratocaster from Fender. Originally in production from 2002 to 2003, the Tom Delonge Stratocaster was maybe the favourite guitar, as I said, of every single pop punk or emo kid that was about. It's just, man, this just brings back so many memories. But after 20 years since its launch, does this guitar still pack the same punch it did back in the early 2000s? Let's take a look. Obviously, with anybody who is familiar with this guitar, there's, you know, it's a punk rock machine. It's great for chunky power chords. It's great for kind of cool palm muty lines, all the good stuff that we all still listen to and love to these days. But of course, let's run through some specs just so we're all on the same table here. Of course, the biggest thing with the Tom Delonge Strat being that this is just a one humbucker guitar. There's no tone control, there's no pickup selector, there's not even a push-pull on this. This thing is just made for all-out sort of force and just punching you in the face, to be fair. It's your traditional Strat, alder body. You've got a 9.5 radius on a rosewood board. It's a maple neck. You've got the large Fender headstock as well, which I personally am a fan of. You might like the slightly smaller one. It's a hardtail, of course, as well, meaning there's no tremolo system as to be expected with a Stratocaster. And one of the smaller details as well being this custom Tom Delonge backplate here. The pickup that is installed in this guitar is exactly the same as it was with the 2002 model, that being a Seymour Duncan Invader. Now this is maybe one of the highest output pickups that you can get on the market, and you know, with other guitars and maybe some other scenarios, I've always felt that the Invader is purely just made for distortion. It doesn't do a clean tone, it doesn't, you know, it can't actually clean up in any way. I was actually really surprised with this guitar this time round. I don't know whether it's just maybe come with maturity or, you know, just slightly different gear or anything than when I was a teenager, but with the inclusion of the Treble Bleed system in this guitar, this pickup actually does kind of clean up like quite remarkably actually for something that is so high output. Now, what the Treble Bleed system essentially means is that when you turn your volume control down, you're not losing any of the high end, so it still retains kind of, you know, some of the treble, some of the sparkle. It means you can kind of get some of those edge of breakup tones, which I will demonstrate. So as you heard in our introduction, I was joined by my colleague Ryan, who absolutely nailed the Mark Hoppus style bass, and we did some imitation Blink-182 as well, which let us know in the comments how close we were, I guess, to that. That tone that I was getting for that was kind of just my full distorted tone as you would expect from it, but as I mentioned with this Treble Bleed system, kind of just check this out. So this is full distortion just as it is. And then just with a kind of turn down of your volume knob there, you know, it's not only obviously going to lower your volume, the way that the Treble Bleed system works is that the tone, you know, it's cleaned up just a little bit. You still got that crunch because, as I said, this is an incredibly high output pickup. Yeah, check this out here. So this was us full, obviously. And then running that down to about halfway there. And this is it. Pretty much just before it stops. Exactly like the original 2002 production models as well, this guitar does come in 4 iconic now finishes. Surf green that is in my lap right now, the Daphne blue which is behind, and there is another 2 colours as well in the form of black and graffiti yellow, which I think if anybody's seen any old school Blink-182 gigs or, you know, Tom back in the day, you're immediately going to recognise them. Unfortunately, it just doesn't come with the Hurley sticker, which is on the base there. And if anybody isn't from the time period of the early 2000s, you probably don't even understand that reference. Obviously, there's not a lot to go over with this guitar. There's, you know, it's 1 pickup, 1 volume, kind of standard Strat shape. One thing that I think is really important to sort of look at with this, it's really not that different from, say, like a super Strat in the form of like the Eddie Van Halen Franken Strat. And before you come for me in the comments, let me explain. Minus the Floyd Rose, of course, there's really not a lot of differences between the two. We've got a high output pickup here, there's no pickup selector. We have a kind of classic sort of vintage radius as well, which I'm not gonna lie, with a modern C neck on it, just feels so comfortable to play. It's a nice satin finish on that as well, which may be coming across in the camera. But say you do play for a metal band and you just want an incredibly focused, you know, no frills kind of Stratocaster, this should absolutely be on your radar for that. You know, anybody who's familiar with Blink obviously will know these guitars. Just looking at it, it's, you know, it's cool. I can't deny that. This thing looks awesome. And obviously to demonstrate that, I've just had to put this guitar down into drop D and let's do some riffing on it, shall we? Which, I mean, it handled it. There's no denying that. So, of course, who is this guitar for? I think any Blink fan, obviously, is going to be immediately drawn to this guitar. I know I was super excited when I took them out of their bags when they arrived. They're just, you know, it's immediate, as I said, it's an immediate shot of nostalgia just right to you. And the fact that Tom's kind of back on Fenders now as well, it sort of feels like everything's right in the world, to be fair. But to reiterate, obviously, if you are just looking for a super modded, no frills Strat, then I think you kind of owe it to yourself to give one of these a try if you do see one in the shop. But what do you think? Are you feeling this, or are all the small things that are missing, you know, just kind of putting you off this guitar? I'm so sorry. Let us know down in the comments just what you think, and as always, like and subscribe. It really does help the channel and we can't appreciate it enough. 1 like does equal 1 more Blink-182 riff that I will play. But until next time, I've been Keiran. Thanks a lot, have a great day.